Hey guys, this is Crystal from Piece by Piece, and this is my first official video, so please be patient with me as I figure this all out. But the reason I want to make a video today is because when I enrolled my son in South Carolina Connections Academy, I had a lot of questions that I could not find answers for. So I just wanted to provide a quick video that may help some of you that are thinking about this decision about choosing public online school for your child. So the reason that we decided to switch from public school to homeschool is my son said, "Hey Mom, I really don't want to go back to regular school. I want to be homeschooled." And this was after he finished first grade. And he knows what homeschool is because he has friends that were homeschooled. So I took what he said very seriously, and I talked to his dad about it, and we prayed about it, and I felt like we need to give it a try. And there were other reasons that were just personal to him, why he wanted to be homeschooled, and then we also had medical reasons. So once we decided that yes, we would change from his public school to homeschool, I realized very quickly that I had no clue what I was doing. So I searched free homeschool, and a lot of the free online public schools popped up. And the two that stood out the most were K-12 and Connections Academy. So I researched the two of those, and Connections Academy had better reviews, and based on the information from their websites, I felt like Connections Academy would be more flexible for my son. And the reason that we chose to do Connections Academy or online public school rather than traditional homeschool at that time was because we had zero budget for homeschool supplies, and I did not feel confident in my ability to homeschool, and I didn't feel like I had enough time, which it was about probably 6 to 8 weeks, to prepare for traditional homeschooling. So I went ahead and I did all the paperwork for Connections Academy, and we were enrolled from Connections Academy from August 2018 until about the end of March 2019. So he did not complete the year, but I'm going to go over some of the pros and cons of the South Carolina Connections Academy, and I do believe that this would apply to Connections Academy for other states. So the first pro is it is almost at zero cost to the parent. You do have to supply the internet and computer depending on your state. Your state may have special funding for computers or a stipend for internet, and that's something you have to research for yourself. In South Carolina, I had to provide the internet and computer. So we got that taken care of. All of the curriculum is mailed to you, all their books and workbooks and science experiment supplies, all the major stuff is mailed to you. They send you a headset with a microphone, they send you a webcam, and they also will send you a Wi-Fi adapter for your personal computer, so you can use that on a laptop or a PC. But Connections Academy is also accessible on tablets. We used a PC, and it was an older computer, so there were times when it did lag, but 99% of the time it was perfectly fine for the Connections Academy pages that we had to use and the live classes. So the big thing is that's less money out of your pocket. The only thing you have to cover other than the internet and computer are typical school supplies like paper, pencils, a mini dry erase board is good to have, things like that. Just basic school supplies, glue sticks, nothing outrageous, scissors. So that's one of the pros. Another pro is everything is laid out for you. You do not have to make lesson plans. You do not have to think about it. You log on. It tells you what is due. It helps you figure out your calendar and when you have to have stuff turned in and things like that. So that's another plus. It's zero planning. You can wake up, log on, and see what your day is. And, it will give you the entire year of assignments. Let me just look at my sheet real quick. Okay, another pro is that if your child needs special services, they do provide those. The IEPs will transfer if you have an individualized education plan for your child. It will transfer from your public school to Connections Academy. Your child will have a special education teacher that is separate from their regular teacher, and they will help you figure out the IEP for the online public school. Many of the goals will change because it is not the same as being in a brick and mortar school. My son, the number of goals drastically declined because he just didn't need the accommodations at home that he needed in public school. At home, he was free to move around. He was free to express himself. We didn't have to keep track of classroom behavior because he was with me. And his specialized needs, everything was taken care of. He received occupational therapy via a webcam because he did qualify for occupational therapy, and he had a therapist that would work with him over the webcam. And I have to say, it worked pretty well while we did that. It seems kind of odd to do it over webcam, but it worked well. There are live classes, but at Connections Academy, you do not have to attend the live classes. Sometimes my son would go and sometimes he wouldn't go. And if you don't attend those, you do have to have regular contact with your teacher. So they'll do a phone call, or sometimes they have special reading or math assessments that will count as communication. So they have to have communication directly with their teacher about every 2 weeks if they're not attending the live classes. Now for the cons. The beginning was going really well. We stayed on task, but I could tell as the year went on, maybe around Christmas time, my son was starting to get a little behind, and he wasn't able to do all the work that was on his planner. I was having to redo lessons with him, or he would have a sick day, and you do get sick days and things like that. But it just seemed like his assignments were piling up, and the more behind we got, it's a slippery slope. And, I thought that we would be able to just, stay on task and do a great job. I have a history as a substitute teacher. I have an understanding of lesson plans. But once he started getting behind, it seemed to pile up. And, that would happen in public school too. So the con is when you're doing traditional homeschool, you can take as much time as you need on any subject, on any topic. When you're doing a public school, whether it's online or in person, they keep moving. They keep moving on to the next topic. So if your child did not get, like, say for instance, my son struggled with regrouping with math. He was just getting further and further behind in math because we would open the math assignments and he was stuck. And I was stuck because, we had to do this one way with this one curriculum, and it just got to the point where he just couldn't do the work. So in the spring, I noticed that, it seemed like he was memorizing the work enough to get through each assessment, which almost every lesson in Connections Academy will have a quick assessment, which is a quiz at the end. And if the child passes a quiz, that counts towards their grade, and it also moves them on to the next lesson. And he was kind of memorizing what he needed to get through the quizzes, or he would make an educated guess on a multiple choice question when it came to math. And he would pass the quizzes, but he could not do the math on paper. So, it just got to the point where I said, this is not working. I have to find something else because he is 2/3 of the way through or 3/4 of the way through second grade, and he has not picked up on this math. Pretty much the other classes he was doing okay in. It's just the math was what really struck me. and it is Common Core, and he had to learn just for subtraction. There were 6 different methods he had to learn for subtracting 2-digit numbers, and he had to master each of those 6 concepts. It was the same thing for addition. It was 5 or 6 different ways to do addition. He could have one way that he preferred, but he had to be tested on every single way. And that was not working for us. It wasn't working for him, and it wasn't working for me as his, they had a name for us. It's like your coach or whatever, the parent, because you're not really a teacher, but you're going through the assignments with them. So anyway, I said, okay, you know what? This isn't working. I'm going to pull him out of Connections Academy, and I'm going to do traditional homeschool. Now, that was his individual situation. He does have some special needs. He needs to be taught in certain ways. And I feel like you can't say that every student would go through that with the Connections Academy. Some students, they're going to fly through the work, they're going to get done early, and they're not going to have any trouble. I did not struggle with math in school, and I wouldn't have had any trouble with it. But each child is different, and you know your child. And that works for language arts, for math, science, social studies, electives, anything. You know where your child has strengths or weaknesses. So that was the major reason why we left, was the fact that he needed a different way to do math. And once I withdrew him from Connections Academy, I felt a huge relief off my shoulders. It was about 6 to 8 weeks to the end of the year, and what I did was I reviewed 2nd grade lessons with him. I bought some 2nd grade workbooks, and we just reviewed for the rest of the year. And I spent that time that I had after we were done and throughout the beginning of the summer to just absorb everything I possibly could about traditional homeschooling. And we switched to that. Now, that's not for everybody. That's what we want to do, but it may not be for you. So, I do not regret signing him up for Connections Academy. I think it was a great way to transition from brick and mortar public school to online public school / homeschooling. It took some of the pressure off of me. I got to know him. We got to get used to spending more time together without the burden of having to do lesson plans and going through curriculum, because that takes a lot of time when you're doing traditional homeschooling. So Connections Academy took that weight off of me. He was still receiving special services. So, that was a good transition from receiving all the services he did at public school to kind of trickling it down to where I felt like I had more control in that situation. And, Connections Academy really helped him become more independent in being able to see his schedule, what was due, what was coming up, having a little bit more maturity when it came to his work. He still needed a lot of help from me, but it just gave him more independence for 2nd grade. I feel like this is going to work. And by this I mean Connections Academy. I think it's going to work for the family who, brick and mortar school's it's just not working for your family, but you're not ready to do regular homeschool. Maybe your kids stay with a grandparent or a babysitter. They are able to do Connections Academy with a different person other than the parent. That person still needs to be able to monitor their work. They need to be able to sit there with them as they, navigate the site and make sure they're doing their lessons. But it does not have to be the parent. So that's another thing that's good about Connections Academy. And you can still have, child care during the day, but as long as there's internet access and they have a computer, then they can get that work done. I think it's also going to work for someone who, their kid could be advanced and public school's just boring for them. They can work ahead in Connections Academy. They can where my son got behind, another child may work ahead and they can finish their work and have time off. that's completely fine. There's no problem with that with Connections Academy. They encourage your child, if they can work ahead and they want to work ahead, to go ahead. I think that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section, and I will answer anything, that I didn't go over, because there is a lot more to go over. I just tried to hit some of the main points for us. I would say, the good thing about it is, if you withdraw your child from brick and mortar school and you try Connections Academy and it does not work for you, you can withdraw them at any time, and you can either put them back in public school, or you can choose to do homeschooling yourself. It's okay. It's okay to try something and it not work, but you can try, and it may work beautifully for you. So, I'm here to encourage you with whatever choices you make. And if you have any questions about transitioning to traditional homeschool, I'll help you with anything that I can. Just leave it in the comment section. Okay, thank you, and bye.